welcome to another episode of Our Greener Pastures. It's your girl Tele, and on this episode, I speak to Daps, aka King Daps. Daps moved to Canada to get a master's degree in engineering at the prestigious Western University, and he was able to land a great job almost immediately after graduation. But then he shares the struggle of, not paying attention to the job you have, like not paying attention to the decisions like the company you work for make and how that could potentially affect you. And how he was out of the job for a long time, almost a year. And yeah, we also delve into speaking about depression. A lot of depression comes with relocation, when things are just not working out for you and things like that. And how he managed to get through that after having such a good high, and how he managed to stay plugged in and turn that around for himself. This is a very special episode to me, and I hope, you enjoy it. Thank you. King Daps was good, my G.
I'm chilling, man. What's poppin', man?
I don't understand. Why do you laugh like that?
King Daps is only for special people. But I mean, I guess you just altered my name to the world. But still,
Bye.
Everyone you can call me Daps, but King Daps is for special people.
Yeah. So today, Daps is my guest. I don't call him King Daps. If he doesn't answer you, that's a you problem. And then we're just going to be talking about like his journey in Canada so far. It's also an interesting story. And although Daps is not Gen Z, but he's quite Gen Z in his ways. So I just hope this one gets to the Gen Z audience, and I hope they can relate to this. What's up? How's it going?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but
if you say so.
Let's go.
How's it going now? How are you?
I'm good. I'm just on my lunch break at work, having a busy day, but making time for some important people. So I appreciate this.
Okay. I hope I don't have to pay for this episode. All right, so now let's just get into it. So the first question I like to ask people that come on is, at what time did you decide to leave Nigeria? Did something happen, or it was just always your plan that you're not going to be in Nigeria?
I think I'd say I'm opposite of people that usually think like that, because I mean, to me, Nigeria or Lagos is where you can enjoy your life and always have the most fun, really. But I decided to come to Canada, I think, for my master's in 2017. So it was just an educational decision. Just beef up your degrees and then come and settle down in Lagos after you get a job.
So your plan was to just come and do your master's and then go back?
Exactly.
Oh, wow, Sin. And what changed your mind? How come you're still here?
What changed my mind? I think the thing with Canada was because I had previously done my undergraduate degree in England, and I think settling down in Canada was just a different experience for me. I enjoyed how the diverse culture, a lot of my friends from high school were here, so it just turned out to be the perfect place for me at that point in my life. And back then it was frankly it was easy to get citizenship, permanent residence. So I was just why not just take up this thing and see how it goes and settle here for a bit. I mean, but the end goal has always been to live in Lagos or enjoy Lagos lifestyle. So yeah.
I mean, this Lagos lifestyle you speak of, okay. Just to be sure that I'm clear. So, do you still have that end goal in mind? Eventually, you're going to move back to Lagos?
I would say yes. Even if it's not moving back fully, but at least splitting my time between Lagos and North America. Let me not just say Canada, but yeah. So I'd want to do winter months in Nigeria and then come there for the summer. So do 6 months in both places.
Hey, that's you. I'm happy for you. So now let's talk. How did you move to Canada? Like, what was the process like? Were you involved in the process? Did you use, you said you came to school. Did you use an agent? Like, what was all that like?
My process was pretty um I don't want to say cocky, but
Pretty
pretty like
cocky. Is that what you said?
very oh yeah, or like self-absorbed. I literally was. I mean, my initial goal was I wanted to go to NYU to get an engineering degree in New York University, like, and I didn't get in. So like, my dad was having conversations with one of his friends, like, and he's just like, "Why don't you tell Dapo to look into Canada?" So my process was dig up the top engineering schools in Canada and apply to all of them and then see which one you get into. So, and luckily enough, I was able to get into Western, which I think was like ranked like fourth or fifth at the time. So, yeah, that was literally my process. I had no agent, no help, no nothing.
So you did it yourself, like you applied to school yourself and all of that. Oh,
Yep.
I mean, like,
So because like I had sorry, but because I had done like applications for American universities, like I was pretty like in a groove, or like, so it wasn't really that it wasn't as complex as applying to American universities. So like it was pretty much a breeze doing the one for Canadian schools.
all right, same. And like, this was in what, 2017? You said.
2016. So I moved on the first day of January.
Oh, so this was,
I
oh,
was I
okay,
literally
okay.
landed.
So I guess what I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand is like, what did you need for that process to like get into to do a master's here? Like, what kind of documents did you need to show to get into school? Like, yeah, I don't know if you remember. It's been a while now.
I don't remember a lot of it, but I feel like because I had done my undergraduate in England, it dumbed down a lot of the process for me. So
Okay.
I think having a degree from England kind of made everything smoother. I didn't have to do the English test. It was just pretty much show like you have funds, show your pre-university certificates, and I just added my undergraduate degree, and yeah, that's pretty much my application. I think I had to write. They usually tell you to write like why you want to come to the school and stuff like that, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was anything more than that.
Okay, fair enough. And I mean, my next question typically will be how was it breaking the news to your family? But seeing as you were going to school, I'm sure that was in top. They were already in the loop, anyways. So, like for like your friends, like at the time you were moving in, was it difficult, like telling your friends you were going to school? And how long? I mean, since at the time you were applying and going, it was like going to school and coming back. How long was your degree for? How
Sorry,
long
can you
was
repeat
your
that?
degree?
So,
Like, how long was the master's degree program you were coming into?
oh, okay. My master's was 18 months. So there about 18 months. And the second question about friends. Like I mean, a lot of my friends were kind of in the loop because like it was always I was initially meant to do my master's as soon as I was done with my undergraduate degree, but I needed a break from school after that. So like everybody kind of knew, or all of my friends kind of knew like this was something that was always in the works. So it was just about deciding when you were going to do it. But the only thing that was surprising to a lot of them was the location. They either like thought I would be going back to England or
Going to the US,
America.
yeah.
So yeah, it was just the location. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like at the time you were moving to Canada, did you know anyone here?
Yeah. So like my two best friends are here. They've always been here. So yeah, pretty much. I knew a lot of people.
Okay, so I
Actually,
mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day, you kind of had a soft landing, should I say?
It's soft landing, yes and no, because one, like Canada is very huge, so like being in Canada doesn't
Right,
mean
right,
you get
right.
to
I
see your
always
friends,
forget
like,
about
cause
that.
like
Yeah.
yeah, right. So it's not like in London where or in England where you can easily just
But like,
move
were your
around, right?
friends at the
So,
time you were moving? Were your friends in the same province as like the province you were going to?
um, yes, they were all in Ontario, but like
That's why
it's
I
like
know.
spread
That's
out
why.
all over
That's why.
Toronto, Western. So it's
Yeah, I
like,
know. Even within even within the GTA, like it can be quite a bit. Like, so that's why I just said we're in the same province. At least if you guys plan to see, yeah, that will work out. But yeah, okay. So fair enough. So now let's talk about school.
yeah.
Like, what were some challenges like you faced when you first got to school here? Because I mean, seeing as you schooled in England, like I'm sure you did not really have the Nigerian university education, so like that won't, it won't be such a, I don't think it will be such a huge shift for you, or was it?
So schooling here, I found it easier than schooling in the UK just because. So like my first 2 years of undergraduate or my undergraduate degree were pretty terrible in terms of like I wasn't prepared just going from Nigeria, but I actually did a foundation course like before that. But foundation is pretty similar to schooling in Nigeria, but getting to university where you actually have to stand up and actually do the work, it was a different thing for me. So like I really struggled through my first 2 years of on my undergraduate degree. So I think that prepared me well for my master's because I knew I didn't want to make that kind of mistake. So I pretty much found my master's degree not easy, but it was easier for me because I was well prepared. Like I knew the things I needed to do to like pass and make sure I have good
Mm,
grades and stuff. And it was easier here because your courses are broken down into like there are various ways to beef up your score before your final exam. In England, especially at Sheffield, it was you just had one exam at the end of the year. So you're literally in school for 8 months, but you just have one exam that's
mm,
probably like 80 to 100%, and then so there's no test, there's no assignments in
no
between that you can
projects,
kind of
nothing.
gauge
Yeah,
where you are exactly. So you can't really you can't really tell until the day of the exam if you're going
do
to
well or
like pass
not.
or fail. And like
Yeah.
you know how like exactly. So that was really tough. But coming here, knowing that okay, there are ways to like actually know what you need to do, and the fact that exams were not 100% weighted towards your final score was really easy for me. So like I was well prepared for that.
Oh yeah, that's that. I mean, that's a first. That's in terms of like
Yeah.
most people that come to school here because they had like the Nigerian background. Canada is either very difficult for them in terms of like your
Mm-hmm.
overthinking is like, oh, I'm in school. Is this how? Do you understand? Is this how school should be? Or it's very
Yeah.
easy for them, but even it being very easy, like you kind of almost get carried away and forget that you're in school. I don't know if you understand. Like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it seems like, oh, the lecturers, everybody wants to support you, but like Nigerian lecturers don't give you that. Like I remember, like I had, I'm not even going to call his name. I had one crazy lecturer I went to school in Nigeria. I went to Covenant, right? And people will say Covenant and private school, yeah, 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 yeah. I beg, all that is just talk. And the first thing this man said is, did he say something like A is for God, B is? I was like,
So he's letting you know that that virtually coming out with an A is
I,
impossible.
like
That's
I
crazy.
feel. I remember the first time I was just like, what does this even mean? Like, do you like all those things already demoralize you? Like, and
Hmm.
get like I feel like sometimes these lecturers forget that we're in university. It seems like a lot of us get into university really young. Like imagine just telling like a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old, this is my first time away from home. A is for God. I'm like, what does this even
Yeah.
mean? B is B
Yeah.
is for
Especially
me.
and
C is for if you
your
try or
point
something
is
funny like that.
your point is really valid because like I was saying, like you know how in England there's like a pre-uni thing that like you either do A levels or you do like
Yeah.
foundation, right? In Nigeria, you don't actually get that. You don't actually they don't prepare you for what university is going to
Mm,
look like. So I can imagine how tough that can get for some
yeah.
people.
Yeah. Okay. That's. I mean, so like apart from school, like seeing as okay, you kind of like fitting well, seeing as you already had experience schooling abroad. Did you have any other like
Mhm.
challenges like with like Canada as a country? Like when you moved to school, obviously I'm sure you already had school accommodation and all of that, so you probably did not have that problem. But things like the weather, did you have to walk while you were in school? Things like that.
I would say so. Yeah, adjusting to the weather was different because like there's UK code or like European code and there's like North American
Yeah.
code because I mean when I was in England, like I think it snowed my only one time that I recall where it was like pouring like heavy snow where like everywhere like stood still. So like, and I landed, and the thing funny is I landed in Canada in January, so this is like peak winter months. So just even dressing up and like dressing up to feel comfortable going out in the cold that took a bit of adjusting to, and I hated the transportation system. Well, I still do, but imagine being in like a remote city, like not like Toronto is not even great, but like imagine being somewhere like London, Ontario, where like buses are not frequent, like it's a lot of walking. So yeah, that took a bit of an adjustment, just having to almost walk
Mhm.
everywhere and like long wait times and different things like that. So yeah,
I
that was
always,
that
you
wasn't
know,
easy
one
like the
thing I
first couple
always
of
wonder,
months.
I always wonder why people that travel to the UK a lot, when they are moving elsewhere, they just expect the transportation system anywhere else to be this. I'm like, what, bruh? The UK
No,
is
but
small.
but
That's why they can have that kind
but
of
you,
transport. I big.
yeah, but you live your experiences, but like I agreed. You shouldn't have that expectation on every country, but like at least you just want like ease of movement is just one of those things that's like
I
important in
mean, I
life.
hear
It's like
you.
it's
I'm
not even
just
only
saying, like,
in the UK
because
now.
I mean, we like different. I've always heard people say, "Oh, Canada transportation is this unlike the UK." I'm like, but that's why it is Canada, not the UK. Go and try transportation in Lagos, then come back and come and tell me, like, what are we talking about?
But I would even say transportation in Lagos, even because I was UK, Lagos, and Canada. Like the fact that you're either driving or your parents have a driver that can take you in. That's still better than here where you
Just
have to walk at least 15 to
or you
20
buy a
minutes in the
car.
cold. Like as a student when you're just landing, like how is that feasible in the
Oh, you
first two,
first.
three
Sorry,
months?
I forgot you were. Yeah, true, 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 true. Because I mean, like people that have cars here, they don't. Transportation is not a thing, right? It's not like it's not a thing,
Yeah.
but it's not something that is a problem for them, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean it wouldn't even be that bad, but it's just like imagine it's like minus 15 and the bus is you're not sure when the
Yeah, I
bus is
think the
coming.
weather, the
Like
weather also, the extreme weather also makes
yeah,
it more. You're right. You're right.
it
Yeah,
makes
it
it worse.
makes it
That's
makes it
the
more
issue. Like if
exaggerated and more like, cause God knows I cannot imagine walking in -15 degree. That I would like just carry my frozen body off the
exactly. So
road.
like
I can't.
if weather wasn't a factor, I think people would be more malleable.
Yeah,
They'll be
if
like,
weather
okay,
wasn't
cool,
a
like
thing, yeah,
I would
you're right.
walk.
Honestly, I don't even like
So
as far as the transportation, like if you're not in like a place like downtown Toronto where oh there's a train that goes, there's the path thing that goes once you are
mm,
moving outside of like moving around is tough. Oh.
yeah, you definitely need a car. Like
Yeah,
I'd say
moving
a car
around is
is
quite tough.
it's essential, or at least factor in transportation
Yeah.
into
So when you were
your
going
monthly
to like when you
cost.
were in
Yeah.
school, did you also have to work while you were in uni?
I tried. I mean, it wasn't like out of like I don't want to sound brash or like it wasn't out of desperation, but like I just wanted to work. I mean, to make a little money on the side, but I couldn't hack it because one, when you're not in desperation mode, like waking up. at 4 or 5 to go and like I think the company was like I think it was a packaging company, and yeah, like standing for 12 hours and then having work at like in the evening. Sorry, having class in the evening. It was some like I think I did it for a day
A
and
day.
yeah, it wasn't for me. Yeah.
I'm not even going to church.
Shout out to my parents though, because at the end of the day, we
Yeah,
thank
fair,
God.
it's true, Sha, because if you had to maybe pay your own fees and take care of it, you will hack it. But yeah, fair enough. You're right. You're right.
Exactly. So yeah, I wasn't in that situation where like, well, this is like when I mean I feel like people are always adaptive. When you are forced to do things that to survive, I would have probably just
I mean,
done
if you
it
had
and
no choice, yeah,
worked
but if you
hard, I
had a
guess.
choice, bro, like
Yeah, exactly.
to be
So
honest, I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie, I'm the same way. Like if it's not that deep, bro, I'm not doing it, man. All right, like I said,
I actually there was actually another job that I almost did, but like it's one of the things that I personally don't really. It's like preying on the. I don't want to say preying on the poor, but it's like there was this job where you had to sell credit cards to people at like North Frills and like other similar companies. So it's kind of targeted at people that cannot really afford to pay for things. So you go and offer them credit cards.
they
So like
cannot afford to pay,
there
and
was
then
like
you
some
offer them credit cards. So how does that even
yeah.
make sense?
So like yeah, I mean that that is how some of these things are. So like I just
But
couldn't
like,
like
wait, I just want to have a full understanding. When you say like at the job, do they like tell you like, oh, this is our target, and then you have to like these are the people we want you to sell to?
I mean they don't explicitly say go and target this kind of people, but you kind of like if you're in like a no frills like one that like you're just seeing people that are like they don't look like they can afford like it's just like a marketing ploy to like get people
Get into debt. Yeah.
to just get their credit get into debt basically. So like I just wasn't really
So your conscience kicked
feeling
in,
that.
and you're like,
So
I can't do this. Okay,
yeah,
love
to
it
be
for
fair. So
you.
it was kind of that, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. So 18 months, like when while you were in school, like did you were you eager to graduate? I just want to know like where was your mind at like for those 18 months? Were you like eager to like, oh, I can't wait to be done and like get into the workforce? Like
um I would say I wasn't eager to be done, not like I wasn't like super giddy about getting to work, but I was like ready to like start earning a living and like start like at least like start growing up, like being an adult, like start doing adult things. Like, do you understand? So, like I was ready to for like vacations, like having a car, etc., etc. But like it wasn't like it's just like I'm trying to like do something amazing. So, cause like I enjoyed school, like it was fun, like especially like a couple of my friends like moved to London. Shia was in London with me. Like I met really good people there. So like it was just like very fun for me. So like it wasn't like I was eager to like just get out of London, but like yeah, I wasn't super like desperate to leave school or anything.
okay, fair enough. And then graduation day finally came. You graduated, and like, what was well? I guess you'll be happy you graduated, but I think what I'm trying to say is like, before you left school, did you already like kind of like start putting in applications for jobs, or did you decide, oh, you're gonna take a break before you start applying? What was that whole process like?
So the way my program was, I think there was like a 3 month wait between when I was done and my graduation. So yeah, I started looking for jobs like just because again one like you want to start being responsible like this time like the dollar was going crazy, so I was like trying to like actually be like actually grow up, like, and it was like obviously like my dad or my parents couldn't just keep supporting me So like I needed to like man up. So I'd already started like the process of looking for a job and different things
Mm.
like that.
Like you already started it when you were in school.
Yeah, like so as soon as like I said, like so I was done with school 3 months before graduation. So like that period between while I was waiting for graduation, like I'd already started like applications, but like I wasn't like super intent
Okay.
about it. But like I was like testing out the markets like and seeing
Okay.
what was
So another
available and
question
stuff.
I have
But
is
a lot but yeah.
okay. And like your school was in London, right? So like by the time you were done with school, did you just know that oh I'm going to move to Toronto, or were you just in London like depending on where I get? Like how did you decide whether you were gonna move out of your school town and like all of that?
Honestly, I was happy to work and live in London. Like I wasn't pushing for Toronto. Just because like again, like in my head, it was just like, why don't you start here? Maybe
Yeah.
work in London for a while, because like everything is cheaper compared to Toronto, right? And it was like it's like what, an hour 30 minute drive. So like I wasn't really desperate to live in Toronto. It was just like it makes sense if I get a job here, like I can save more, etc. Right? So I wasn't really pressed to, and I like London. Like it was it. So the thing about London, it's a uni town, so like it has its peaks and valleys. Like during summer, it's pretty dead because like most of the uni students are not around. But like every other season, like it's fun. Like there were things to do. It wasn't far from church, so I was very happy to like
Be there.
stay and work and live in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's now talk about getting your first job. Like how long after graduation did you land your first like your first proper I'm not saying like your first proper job, yeah.
So I would say graduation was like June. I landed my first job August of that year. So what? 3 months? About 3 months.
June,
Yeah.
July, August. Like 2 months each. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually not
Yeah.
bad.
It's
I
fine.
mean, like before those 2 months came, like were
I
you
mean,
like obviously like I won't say desperate, but like were you eager for the job? Or like were you like when is this job going to come? Were you applying so much? Like what was that like?
yes, because because after graduation, like you start hearing up, like you start talking to people, like you're hearing about their own success stories or they got a job here, and so like the thing is with graduation, like people start to trickle out. You understand? Like it's like before graduation, all of you are in this bubble enjoying. Oh, grad is coming soon, and then after grad is I'm moving to Toronto. I'm moving to here. I'm moving to here. I got this job here. So like that kind of like you feel it now. You start to like get eager and want to like start doing your own thing. You want to have conversation. Like it can't be every time you're talking with your friend, it's got to be good. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like it's like you want to talk about work. You want to talk about like what don't you like and stuff like about plans and things like that. So yeah, I think definitely after graduation, I started like feeling the pressure of like okay now like you've actually been I because like I said earlier like I had stopped working maybe 3 months before grad so like just being idle for 6 months is not easy. Like it's like what else can you do in a day? Like
Yeah,
okay, you go to the gym, maybe you watch TV, like but doing that for like 180
that's
days is like
crazy.
it's a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, I
yeah,
mean, I can imagine. So now you
thanks.
finally get your first job, and then where was your first job? Did you have to move to like at the time you got it? Were you still in London, and did you have to like move to Toronto? Like what was that?
So yeah, I was still living in in my apartment in London, and the interview was in Toronto. So I had to drive
Wait, was
down
the interview in
and
person?
do the interview. Yeah, this was
Oh,
2017 now.
like
Like how many?
yeah. As in, I'm just when you said the interview was that's what I'm like. Oh, so you. I never knew. Okay, well,
Yeah,
let me not cast myself.
7 years ago, a lot of things that we think are basic now has changed. Like I think I went to Toronto at least like for different job interviews, maybe 4 or 5 times,
Really?
just for the initial stage. That's not even Oh, it's
So
just
wait,
like
just walk
for
me
them
through
to
this,
leave.
like what it was like. So you dress up corporate, you go to the office, like what's that like having an
Yeah.
in-person interview?
I mean, it's I don't even, I would like it depends on how confident you are about the job actually, or how confident you are about your skills for whatever job you apply for. But like, there's always a like if you're confident and like the person isn't really a snob, I think in-person interviews are fine because like they usually have a way of like calming you down or like making you like relax
Mm,
rather than in online where it's just a face. You don't know if they're funny. You don't know, like you're just looking at each other, right? So I think at least for like for the first one, I would say you should. I would say it's not bad if you can go in person, like, if you can. But yeah, like I had to go multiple times to Toronto. Just
that's crazy
uh,
because I'm
this time I
just
didn't even
like,
have a car.
fam. I mean, COVID did a thing for real because I actually can't imagine like with the way people. I mean, there are people that live here that work for companies that are in the US. Yeah, I'm just thinking how crazy it would be. Like, oh, so I have to travel and the company doesn't pay for this today. This is a you
Nope.
thing to that. I'm so sorry, but that's crazy. That
I mean, but like, again, it's like, but I think in back then a lot of all this it was expected though. Like,
I
do you
hear
understand what
you,
I'm saying?
but
Like,
like just looking
it
back
was the
now,
norm.
especially because I mean, in Lagos, obviously, in-person interviews are a thing and all of that. But I'm just thinking of like how big Canada is. Like, just imagine even living in what like Niagara, and the company that you're interviewing for
Yeah.
is in Oshawa. Like, do you? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. That like that's just a crazy drive to just go and do. Like just thinking about it, like it's just crazy to me. Like even at that point, nobody thought about, oh, we can do online like before COVID. Like people didn't think about it. Like it
Yeah.
just like what I'm just trying to say is capitalism is crazy, though. Basically that's.
I mean, but again, like another thing you have to think about is like with jobs and stuff, everybody's always like, I mean, because people lie about their locations. Yeah, so like I'm pretty sure at that point my resume said I lived in Toronto, Jonathan. So like it's like, what is it that much of a big deal for you to come into the office when you live in the city? You get so like, so those are the things that like people in the job market do as well. Like, because there are some companies that they'll see you're not close to where their like
Offices,
offices,
yeah.
and they're like, okay, how is this gonna work? Do you understand? So like, it was
Fair,
one of those
I mean, like it
resume
makes
things that
sense,
where
but
you
like I'm just like I mean, now that I live here and I know like what it is, like I'm just like, oh, that's actually it's
yeah
actually crazy to think like if you want to, you probably have to like it just sounds crazy to me, but yeah, it makes kind of makes sense if it's expected. It makes sense, yeah.
yeah
So, so when you got your first job, you moved. Did you move after you got your job?
yeah. So I moved. I think I got it like middle of August, and my start date was like maybe the first. I mean, it was definitely maybe the first 2 weeks in September. So it was quick. I had to. I think I even had to rent my apartment for a month in London, but I had to get to Toronto as soon as possible. Yeah, so I moved.
Hmm. Finally, moving to the and like this was your first time living in Toronto, as in the big city, after you moved to Canada. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was it? What like not? I mean, not what was your first job, but like was your first job a great first job? Or would you say it was like a dream job, or would you say it was like, oh, one of those jobs you just do till you get your dream job?
So you're definitely not a dream job, but was a great is a stretch, but it was a good paying job. So like I don't want to say it's a great. It was a great paying job, but it was a good job. So I don't know if that makes sense.
It was a
But
great
like
paying
it's
job,
one
but
of
it
those
wasn't a good
jobs that
job. Is that what you're saying? So
yes.
like, I mean, not to pry, but what was this great pay straight out of uni?
I mean like it's so wait, you want me to say my pay?
You don't work there anymore. Your first pay. That's it.
I mean I mean, like, okay, well, I guess I just finished school, so like, I think I was about 70, if I recall. It was 70 with the option of like earning more like with overtime. So like, it was like a company that they had a bunch of overtime, and there was just like, oh, okay, you know what? If you seek yourself in the work, like, there's just money to be made here, and getting into that culture,
Yeah.
like, and a lot of like the people that I met at the company, their own mentality was, it wasn't growth, it was more about just milk, get as much as you can, which kind of, I would say it kind of made me unrealistic about like what actually like being responsible about finances and stuff is.
That's a whole nother conversation because we don't need to speak about what's being responsible about finance because if I get into it, we'll sleep here. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, I get that. I to be honest, I mean you and I have this conversation all the time. How honestly sometimes I think I appreciate not I will not say I appreciate it, but I love it for people that your first job is more about it's not necessarily about the money, like you're not doing it for the money. Like I feel like it builds better character as opposed
definitely,
to like getting
definitely.
a an unrealistic first job that is not like it's not something for lack of a better word that you can maintain for a long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, that does.
I mean,
So
definitely, but I think just before we know, like, I just think if I had like actually like approach, even if I had milked them, but I had a better mentality of like understanding that this is not sustainable, but milk them for a bigger goal, I think it would have made more sense. I don't know if what I'm saying makes
like
sense
yeah,
to you,
you
but like
knew like I was just
if I just
working
looked
to
at
make
it
this money, but I'm still growing myself to yeah, I see, okay.
exactly, exactly right. But I looked at it, oh, it's kind of sustainable. Like I didn't
Okay,
think
so when you
about
say it wasn't
if
sustainable,
a
like
company,
why was it not sustainable? I don't understand that part.
because if you think about it, like if a company, if a lot of people are taking advantage of a company like that, it means like at some point, like some heads are going to roll. You know, so, like it wasn't sustainable. Like that's not even a company where like the employees are not looking for growth, but they're just looking at, oh, okay, this is my time to like stack up because this company might not be here. Do you understand? Like
So it, okay, I
it
get what you
just
mean.
thinking back, it just felt like a company that was eventually going to not crumble, but like they were going to eventually like cut costs, or like people were not going to be there. Like that long term growth option is not available in a company like that, except like I would say it's very rare. Like I don't know anyone that is still there. I think most of the people that I started with, I think all of them have left or they're not even there. So yeah.
So how long were you at this job for?
I would say so about 11, 11, well, 10 to 11 months. So I got it, I think I got it August. I started September. I think by July, I would say they had layoffs
Mm, layoffs.
by
Oh my
June.
god.
So yeah.
So you guys
So
that actually saw the people that knew like it wasn't sustainable, they had a thing. So but was this layoff? So I'm wondering, were the layoffs due to COVID or was this pre-COVID or was
this was, I mean, this was summer of
that is
2019. So COVID was still
crazy.
maybe,
They laid off summer of 20.
yeah.
So
So
that means people
COVID,
that knew like the company like they were making bad decisions, they were onto something.
exactly. So like, and then like there were those murmurs around in the company, but like I'm new. You know, so like I can't go and ask somebody like, you know, so there's no like I didn't like have anyone in the company, no mentors,
Mm,
no nothing. Like it was literally 6 months in. So like who can I go and ask for like, oh, I'm hearing these like rumors or something. So like I always heard about it, but I wasn't sure. I just always thought like again, I was part of it was
mm.
naivety, and I was just like, oh.
And
Yeah,
I
like
guess
I'm
my
chilling,
I
man.
well I mean I don't even think I don't even know if this is a question or a statement, but I'm just wondering, like now layoffs seem like post COVID, layoffs seem like something that happens.
Yeah.
Like nobody is shocked. Like we hear about the layoffs all the time, like, oh, Google just laid off so amount of like it's not something that is shocking anymore. But I'm just wondering in 2019 pre-COVID, like there must have been some form of shame just knowing you were laid off from a company. Like, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like,
Definitely, definitely, because even telling my parents, but like again, think about it's just like I was just like, why should I be ashamed? Like I didn't do anything. Like I've been prudent with like as much as I enjoyed my time at the company and I took advantage of like oh I made my money like when there was time to make extra like I worked like it wasn't like I was faffing out like I actually worked for all these things that I was earning. But so I don't know why I was ashamed. But I was very ashamed to like tell my parents. But I eventually told them because I think I was talking to one of my friends, Olivia, and he's just like, dude, like this was you didn't get fired. Like it's a company wide thing. So it was just I think a lot of the shame or like the it was just like oh like my parents like I didn't want them to start
stressing,
stressing over
yeah.
me anymore. Do you understand? Like yeah, you know, so like I told them like you don't have to worry about me. Like I've been fending for myself. Like so, I just didn't want to get them in the mindset of like, oh, how's he doing, or like, do we have to like start sending him money and stuff again? So yeah, I think that was where a lot of the I don't even call it shame, just the hesitancy of like telling them that's where it came from.
That's crazy. Wow. So after
Yeah.
2019, like when did you get your next job?
Whew, I would say so. After I lost my job, I took a break. So I went back home to Nigeria for my cousin's wedding. And then I went to England for a couple of weeks. So I took a break just to like mentally reset. And I think I came back in November. And yeah, like I was having interviews. Like I think at least two or three that kind of went well. So COVID was now, I think that was when COVID was coming. So like a lot of companies were kind of stalling, right? And by the new year, like it was the full COVID world, and a lot of positions had gone. Some people were like, I think there was a guy I was talking to that had gotten laid off and stuff. So like, yeah, it took. I think it took about a year, and I'll say from July to 2020 November. So what? That's a year
Wait,
and
from
four
July
months,
when?
5 months. 2019 to November 2022. I didn't get a job for
Wait.
a
Hold on.
year.
Hold on. Wait.
A year and
That is
6 months.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my, I mean, there's so
Actually, and the
many
thing
layers
that sucked
to
about it
relocation
is,
that you know how, oh my god. Like I'm just like
yeah,
I know
it's so
I know I'm
funny.
actually quite like,
Sorry,
but I feel like what's shocking me is like there was also COVID in the midst of all this rubbish.
yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, so how did you manage to
so the
stay
thing was, it
sane?
was a,
Like, I mean, that's the next question I'm going to ask straight up. How did you manage to stay
how
sane?
did I manage this creating websites like data science and so that kind of kept me sane, like because it was kind of like a goal of mine. And I started um, doing 5K, minimum 5K runs. So like those two things like kept me sane while I was like looking for a job. And I would say I had like encouraging like friends and family, like they were always like just what keeping me engaged, like so that really helped me like while I was waiting for my job.
I mean, I'm as in I'm trying to think of who I want to ask without like because I don't want to dwell so much, but I just want to have like create context and also create like paint a picture for people to understand. So it's like
Yeah.
you move to Canada, you go to school, you get like a great paying job, which is what most people want,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get laid off from the job pre-COVID, and then it
Yeah.
takes you like a year and a half to land another job. And this
Yeah.
was due to COVID. Like COVID happened. Like that is so like people that sometimes we say people that moved the pre-COVID were so lucky, but guy, it just depends on what side of pre-COVID you were on.
Yeah.
That that
Just
that
depends, really.
like that is I can't imagine. And then, but like, I mean, apart from the job thing, what was going through COVID here like for you?
Um, what was going through COVID? I would say the
Like the
first two.
loneliness really kick in. Like
Um, nah, not really, because like I'm kind of a nerd, so like there were so many things that I was like doing, like I was watching like anime, like I was watching like comic book, like I was reading comics. Like the first like 2-3 months where it's like, because no one thought COVID was going to last, or like we're going to be indoors for, I think it was a year and change, right? So like the first 2-3 months, it's like okay, like, and one thing I forgot to mention was I actually got a job. Like, so I think the lockdown in Canada started March 20 something. I got a job very similar to the one that I had previously at Bombardier. I don't know if I mentioned that, but very similar to that one. And I worked there for a week, and then the lockdown happened. And essentially, but it was a contract job, right? So essentially, it was like, oh, okay, we'll let you know when you can come back to the office. But because it was COVID and like
they just
it
never
was
got back
contract,
to you.
yeah, just never got back. So like, yeah, so I literally, so yeah, I got a job for a week and then it was done, essentially. So, but
Oh
yeah,
my
like the
god.
first 2-3 months, it was fun. It wasn't fun, but like it was just like, oh, this is just like, I mean, we're in lockdown for 2 months, right? So like, I was like, okay, I'm on free time. Let me just catch up with life. Like, there's so many TV shows and like comic books and stuff that I wanted to read. I did all that for the first 2-3 months, like thinking obviously like it's not
It
going to take
shouldn't
me
be
a
that
whole
long.
year.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it wasn't too bad for the first 2-3 months, but yeah, once it started getting longer, it became tough, honestly, just because one, like, imagine just being at home every day and like your friends are working, so one, you can't have conversations, your roommate is working, so like you
And
can't
you
be
are, you
like
are, you are not
you
doing anything.
exactly, you're just there loafing around, like you're waking up at 8, like just like, so him is in work mode, like, so there's no one to talk to, like, so that's I feel like that's actually what, like, when that dawns on you, you're just like, what am I doing? Like, I can't talk to anybody. So yeah, that was really what was hard for me, just because like you start to feel out of the loop, like you meet up with your friends and everybody's having conversations about work, or like what's stressing them, or doing their weekends, or like what their goals are. Oh, I'm saving for this car, or I'm saving, and you're just there like, I just I just want to have a job that I can even like have conversations
Yeah.
with my friends. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Sorry you went through that.
Thanks. I think it made me a better person in a lot of ways.
So can you give me like one example of how it made you a better person?
I think it definitely made me more considerate to like understanding, like, because I I wouldn't say I didn't like express like my situation to anybody, but it made me more understanding of, you don't know what a lot of people are
People
going through in
going
life.
through,
So
right?
like I became less. I'm
Judgmental.
not even a judgmental person, but like I just became less. I became less judgmental, more like willing to give grace to a lot of people. Just be like, you legit do not know how much they are suffering, and I think I realized that you can do a lot of things to brighten a lot of people's days. Because I feel like when I was like just home, like a lot of my friends would just call me, check up on me, or they'll tell me to come out. Like all these little things that you might think might not mean something, but like just checking up on your friend, or like just calling them, like, hey, it has a lot of impact on a lot of people. So like stuff like that, and just even learning how to be like more goal oriented, like it forced me to like just not view life as this like ladder that you just keep going up. Like it's life is very it's a roller coaster. Like it's full of ups and downs. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to describe that.
Yeah, life is full of ups and downs. I definitely agree with that. Even like obviously my own experience might not have been as dramatic as you, but also when I came to Canada, I was working in tech, got laid off. Took me like a long mm, to be fair, I had a job. It's not like I didn't have a job, but I hated what I was doing. It was just one of those jobs of I'm doing this for now till I get what I really want to do. And
Yeah,
then the I'm doing this for now took so much longer than I thought that he would take before I got like the job I have now, right? It
yeah,
took so much longer. And I was like, what the hell? Like it just makes you start to see yourself as even if nobody is telling you that, you're like, you're seeing yourself as less. You don't like all of that just made me like so I can relate to what you mean. And the giving grace part, absolutely. I can definitely I mean, I've always known how to give grace to people regardless. Like even when people do me dirty, yeah, I'm just like, bruh, hurt people. Like that's just the way that's the way I see it.
no,
But
but it's unless you're not because not everybody's positions are similar, but like it's when you're deep in your thoughts, you understand that like yeah, like just everybody the happiest person the person you think is the happiest is probably not as happy as you think they are.
yeah,
So
they are just
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know when I went through like the whole process, and then like I went through what I went through, and even me myself, like I realized there was a point I feel like within this relocation process, I would say I was depressed.
yeah,
But like when I came to that realization, it was hard for me to believe it because it's like, oh, I'm this bubbly person. I'm this like, how can I be depressed?
yeah,
Like thinking that depression just equals to, oh, I'm just sitting, I'm like, I don't know. People always see depression as, oh, I want to kill myself or I want to like. It's not
no, it's
necessarily
not
that.
that.
Yeah, just not like, yeah. So
It's a
yeah,
lot. It actually shows up in your daily routines. Like
yeah,
you probably don't want to go to the gym. You probably don't want to eat or like that show that you enjoy is not it doesn't seem like you don't enjoy it as much like or like you don't want to talk to you like you understand like it just makes
yeah.
you like withdraw from like the things that like make you happy. So like a
And
lot of it
like
is not about
like you
just
saying this is so funny because I've had like friends that have relocated and like maybe still struggling to find the job they want just
yeah
yet. Like they're still going through that process. And I- every time I see my friend, and I'm seeing like I have a friend now that is going through it, and I can see that she's already withdrawing. Like the process is already starting. When like the
yeah
process, I'll say the depression process is already starting. Of you not, you don't call your friends anymore. You that you call your friends all the time. You just don't want
yeah
to talk to people just because you feel like you're not doing anything.
exactly. And it's just like again, so I was talking to one of my friends recently and like she was like why you keep asking me about my job? I would tell you when I get and I felt so terrible because I know how that feels like. It's like why do you
Yeah,
keep like trust me, you because I know you've been checking up on me. So like when I actually have some good news, you'll be one
I'll
of the
let you
first people
know.
to. Do you understand? So I was just like, you know what, that's fair. Like and it wasn't even from like it wasn't malicious or anything. It's just because like I actually like she's actually very brilliant. Like and like she's really smart. So I was just like, oh like, but it's just life is just not that easy for anybody. Like me working for 3 months, but somebody unemployed for 3 months is like times is 90 is like that's times 180. Like for them it's been that it's like 3 months of hell. For you it's been 3 months, oh I've been stressed, but like your day goes by fast, right? Do you understand? So like
Yeah.
so those are the things that you just have to like factor in. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's not easy for sure.
it's crazy. And I mean, I mean, I don't know. People might have gone through it, but I just feel like being in a different country also just makes everything so much more grand. Like, do you understand? Like, we that we've relocated, like we're living far from home, everything just seems so much more grand with the not having the job you want just yet. But I mean, everybody just hang
I
in
think
tight.
a lot of that is just with like there's this like calming presence, like being around your family gives you. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can go to my mom's house and like just or talk. Do you understand? Like being at home is different than just being here. Where like if your landlord doesn't like you, like what are you really going to do? Do you understand? Like
Yeah.
if the government of Canada says, oh, we found something wrong in your like like anything can happen any day. Do you understand? Like and you're just that safe space of home is not readily available. Do you understand? It's different when you're in Lagos where worst to worst, there are some people that would love you for no matter how terrible it is. Your
Yeah.
parents are not going to.
And then even
Yeah,
like it's like we're all the same in Lagos to a certain extent. So people easily can relate to what you're going through. Yeah, bro, there's this like everybody's just on the move. Everybody's if you're not doing, you're the one that is slacking. If you bro, I'm just like
yeah,
so yeah, I definitely get that. I definitely get that. Like, wow. I can't believe we went. I cannot believe this episode is giving you'll be depressed, but catch it and fight it. No, because to be honest, if I'm going to give anybody advice on look, it's tough. Like even if you have a job, you have everything working for you. The winter depression is a thing.
yeah.
Like when everywhere just starts get like I never thought that would get me, but it did this December. Like when I'm like, it's just
It's
3 p.m. Why the hell is it so gloomy?
yeah, it's a lot of things. It's not even like forget winter depression. Like so, my mom is around. Literally, just I think she left about 2 weeks ago, and just going from not seeing her every day, like just it's just like damn, like I can't. So this the weekend is here, and I can't just go to my mom's house and see her and just hug her. Do you understand? Like it's
Mm,
that's that like when I feel like a lot of people like, especially when you're relocating, like you take for granted seeing your family. Like
yeah.
yes, they annoy you or like whatever, like they piss you, off, but like there's always just something like, oh, okay, like my mom is here, like I can hug her, I can talk to her, like
Doesn't mean you should just
it's
take it away from me
yeah,
completely. Yeah.
exactly like it's just like that, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right. You're
it's
right.
it's a lot of things, but
It's crazy. I mean, this. I don't. Let's not make this episode so gloomy and doomy. Now, I just have a few more questions for you. So, I mean, with everything you've gone through and all of that, at what stage of your relocation journey, like, what would you call this part of your life, like right now, like the spot you're in right now? Like, do you think what would you call it? Let me. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
um, not to be very prophetic, I would say setting up for success. So I think that's this phase of my life right now is setting myself up for success is how is the best way I can describe it
Hmm.
because it's like I've lived the experience of being young and silly. Like I've lived the experience of like being jobless and like basically living month to month. So like now it's like okay, God forbid, I don't want to be able to handle any of all those things anymore. But like now it's like having processes in place, not even processes, but like just constantly thinking about how to not get back to that and how to keep growing. So that's the best way I can describe that for myself.
Yeah, I love that. I actually love that you said that because once when you were saying that, it just made me really think. Because I watch and I listen to a lot of I watch read. I really love biographies, especially of people that have like made it, like made something out of their lives, even from like sport players, blah blah blah. And you saying that just made me think about like almost every successful person, like people that eventually like that do big things, things that last, not just things that are in the moment. I feel like everybody went through that phase of, and once you can come out on the other side,
Yeah,
yeah, almost halfway there. Like I don't know
yeah,
if what I'm saying like if you can go through the tough times and just come out on the other side, like because now it's like you're just going to keep working as hard as you can to make sure you never get back there.
yeah.
That's one.
Exactly.
Two, even you're able to quickly decipher the signs. Like, oh, when you see, oh, like I'm sure now you probably will not work for a company like that company anymore because you know, even if the money is plenty, man, but anything can
Yeah.
happen at any time. Is it really worth it?
exactly. So like yeah, it wouldn't be like look. It's looking at sustainability. Like if you're looking at a company and they are telling you, oh, they don't know how to like they don't have a growth plan for you. I think I think all those kind of questions are important, but I didn't ask at the time. It's just like, oh, how do you see me like
Yeah, sometimes when
progressing
you're
in this
desperate
company?
for a job,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't
but
really,
like, but it's
yeah.
important though because again, if I'd taken that advice and they were like, oh yeah, this I don't know, they couldn't really articulate how my growth plan would be. Like, I might not have taken that job, but like, so do you understand? But I don't think
Yeah.
I regret it because I think I needed to
I mean,
explore.
bro, everybody needs to go through, like, all our journeys are
Yeah,
different. By the time
exactly.
in a few years' time, by the time you look back and see, like, it will make sense to you. I'm sure now you probably even already does a little bit, but like when you become much more, like, much more, what's the word? Like, to be fair, with time, everything is just time. By the time you look back, it will make sense to you why you had to go through of what you went through. Like, do you
Yeah,
like, oh, I love that. I love that. I really enjoy this conversation. So I have two more questions for you. One is like, if you're going to advise someone that is here fresh out of uni trying to figure it out, what
yeah.
is one advice you give them?
I think the first thing I would say is do not try and replicate your friends' success stories
Mm,
because for everyone that has a great story, there's someone that has an equally opposite story. So don't think so if three of your friends tell you, oh, like they got these amazing like three other people that they know that they might not be your direct friends, but in your circle are going through the opposite, where they've been looking for jobs and they've been going through the hardship of it. So like so never try and replicate the best story in your head. Like, be level headed about it. Like, you should always try and attain those goals, but don't see it as, oh, if that because that happened to three people I know, that's going to happen to me. No, life doesn't work like that.
mm,
So that'll be I think that'll be the most important one. And I think like be very like when you get an offer, like actually, if you're desperate, you're desperate. But like, just know what type of company you're working for, and quickly realize, oh, okay, if it's a year where oh I'm making money, but like you're preparing yourself for whatever happens in that year. So just make sure you have a backup plan. Is essentially what I'm saying. But I don't want to
in
discourage
terms
anyone
of,
from
yeah, like
taking it.
relating it to jobs, so I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I love that you said that. So it's basically you just need to be true to yourself. If you know I'm desperate just to make money now, be
yeah,
wise and know that I'm just making money now, whilst also probably looking for other opportunities if possible.
exactly.
Don't now get
Yeah,
lost in the source of, this thing is just for money. Now you are still there 10 years, they've not promoted you, you are still doing the same job. What are you doing?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know those are solid what? Dabs. Wow. Those are solid. Those are solid advice. Yeah, I love that. So this is like the final question and like my favorite question. So like looking forward with everything you've gone through in your relocation from 2017 till now,
Yeah.
like looking for what are some aspirations you have for yourself?
Aspirations. I think I don't know if I think career wise I want to be at a certain level in my career. Like so I'm trying to become a full-time software developer because like right now it's like passion. Like I don't do it all the time. So I think that's my main goal for now. But like this would sound crazy, but like I want to be in a position where like I can be how can I say this? Like I can not necessarily provide for my family, but like I want to be able to do spontaneous things for my immediate, not even necessarily my, but people that I really care about, right? And I feel
Okay, can you give me
that's
an example? You can use me in the example. So give an example.
okay. So like I feel like like my mom, if she's bored, I want
I
to
say
just
use me. Which one is your mom?
hop on a
Obviously,
flight,
duh.
hop on a flight here. For someone like you, it's like, okay, you know what? Let's go and have dinner at a fancy restaurant. And I'm not even like, not like we can't do that, but like they have like I just want to be able to just have people
Spontaneously, I
over,
hear
yes,
you. I get what you mean.
spontaneously go on trips and stuff like that. So I think yes, like all the other cliche stuff about house, like cars and yeah, all that is there. But like I think when I'm very comfortable in like not worrying about me financially,
So that you can
is
take care of, or you can actually, I won't even say take care. I'll say so that you can spoil the people you love. Yeah,
yes, yeah.
I
That's the
love
best way
that.
I can
From
describe
from
that.
from
Yeah.
your mouth to God's ears. I love that. I love that.
Amen.
I mean, I love that. I mean, like at the end of the day, one thing I know about this life is as long as you're a good person, you keep putting in the work, you keep doing what you're supposed to do. God is not a wicked God. that's that's
And
one thing I
that's
know for
true.
a fact. Like God is not a
That is
wicked.
true.
It's just about time, and we all just need to give ourselves time. With time, you look back and be like, damn, I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it for you, bro. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for having this conversation with me. It was very, I mean, I really liked the direction our conversation went. Like, even though it started off sounding a bit of doom and gloom, but yeah, we're able to bring it back. I really, I really
I
enjoyed
mean,
that.
there's
All right.
always there's always gloom in the doom, I guess. I
I
don't know
mean,
what
but
the
fam, that's
cliche
just the
means.
journey of life. Only if you want to be hearing rosy stories everywhere, you're probably in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Wow. Thank you for listening to this episode. I mean, I just hope it's not so sad and so gloomy. And I hope it just gives, again, more context into what relocation can be like. No two persons' journeys are the same. Everybody's journey is different. And yeah, depression is really a thing. And yeah, just need to work on yourself and, keep putting your best foot forward. There will always be light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for listening. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Our Greener Pastures _. And until next time, bye.